I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Jen.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
Julia Rivera. Here. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Randy Niemeyer.
Present.
Colleen Sheehan. Here. Richard Sharp.
Here.
I am present. Chris Salatis.
Present.
David Austin.
Present.
Thank you, everybody. Under new business, approval of the minutes from October 18th, 2022. Motion to accept and waive the reading of those minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Randy,
I'll second.
second by Colleen. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julia Rivera. Yes. Randy Niemeyer.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Number 2, this is a motion to approve the pay request for Eastside Water Utility Elevated Storage Tank. Do we have people here in the audience that want to comment on that before we take that vote? You may come up and state your name and your comment.
Yeah, my name is Kyle Caves. I've been a resident here.
Your address, please, also, sir.
What was it?
We need your address also.
12716 Wheeler Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Thank you.
I've been a resident here in Cedar Lake for 30-some odd years. Traveled the world, wanted to always live here. It's been brought to my attention recently that there is a project for a water storage tank in Crystal Oaks on the park property. It was my understanding when I moved to Crystal Oaks, this is my second house there, that park was to stay a park. I believe that a lot of the people here also were informed that there was nothing going to be built on that park, and I feel just a little discredited that we were never given an opportunity or a formal notification that the park was going to actually have a water storage unit on it. I have gathered data as far as our covenants as a neighborhood. Also, the town subdivision ordinance states that for that neighborhood you have to have 1.75 acres of usable green space. I feel that with that water tower going in there that we will not longer have that. And then I'm kind of here on the behalf of a lot of the residents within that neighborhood due to some people's work schedule. Within the past 48 hours is when I was notified about the water tower. Within the past 48 hours, about 155 residents of Crystal Oaks have reached out to me and stated that they're very concerned. They didn't know about it. Some residents did, and they asked me if I could just coordinate some kind of response to the city. There's a lot of concern that this project got pushed forward. There hasn't been any formal notification. Myself included in that, I am the last development in that subdivision. I built the last house there. I live there in another house down the street, and I love the neighborhood there. I love the whole community. Like I said, I've been a Cedar Lake resident for 30-some odd years. A lot of the concerns from my neighborhood are the residents were never formally notified. I feel that whoever a representative is, I believe it was Carnahan, I think it's changed now. The constituents should have been reached out to, should have been notified, should have been talked to, because that affects not only the traffic in our neighborhood, the safety of our children, but also the fact that our property values might take a hit from this. Which is concerning, being that I literally just built a house a year and a half ago in that neighborhood. I know as a citizen here in Cedar Lake, I have to give a formal notification to my neighbors if I do anything outside that needs a variance. So that's kind of adds to that, the residents were never notified. We're also concerned about the safety of our children. Crystal Oaks is a single-family home neighborhood. There's a lot of residents with children. If you ever go in our neighborhood during a weekend or even afternoons, there's the children presence there, there's probably on average 2 children per household in our subdivision. We're worried about the proximity of the residents too of this construction. Myself, I'm a construction coordinator for BP North America and BP Global. Being that where the water tower is going to be constructed at, I'm worried about the safety of the residents because it's an occupied residency, as well as once the water tower is constructed, if it has sorry, I'm at a little loss of words, critical failure, that residence has to have flood insurance, puts them on a floodplain with a water tower. The Cedar Lake government, there you have immunity governance for water towers, and so that was one of the concerns. Another concern was the high traffic and the roads being damaged with all the equipment coming in and out of our neighborhood. We're kind of dealing with that right now with the construction going on in MacArthur right across the street. Again, we're worried about the effect of our property value, the playground. That has been a big concern of a lot of our residents, and the effect on the natural beauty of the Lemon Lake that we are so proud to be living up against and have that beautiful scenery. Again, I brought up the covenants. Our covenants doesn't say anything in there about the property being used anything other than a park and green space. And I guess what I'm asking is that if the construction could be at least held off for another month so I can gather some more data. Again, I've only done this for the past 48 hours of having all these residents reach out to me. It's just by chance that I have the ability to come up here and speak to you all because of my ability to be able to do some of this stuff in my off time and not have so much going on in my life right now. But I would like to have a petition signed by all the neighbors so that we know this is not just me talking, but there's actually fidelity behind it. I'd also like to be able to gather some more data to find the legal grounds of where we're at with this, and also for myself to find that is there any other viable options in the city of Cedar Lake? I lived here for a long time. I'm not somebody to say, hey, I don't want it at all. I understand that there's got to be some give and take. A lot of people in the neighborhood are just, they don't want to see a tower go up right there and having issues and impact on our daily life as well as the effect on our property value. Again, that's just kind of where I'm at with this. I've been fed a lot of information in the past 48 hours about what people's perceptions are of this project, why are they tying it in there. Some of my understandings of it is because the new Lakeside subdivision had tied into that water system and then with the expansion of MacArthur, that the water system, we're constantly losing pressure and things like that. I understand that piece of it, but why is that a developed neighborhood that's already been established? We just finished the last lot on there, and now we want to go ahead and put a water tower in when nobody there was under the understanding that it was going in, at least publicly. Apologize for my stuttering and things like that. Again, I'm just a little overwhelmed.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, you're doing fine. Don't apologize for that.
Just
Seriously.
a little, there was a lot of information taken the past 48 hours. And then my only ask is that let me work on this for one more month and come at you with a proper case and possibly a solution for this. So that way there's a middle ground, everybody's happy all the way around, and we're still objecting the goal of providing water pressure to the town of Cedar Lake. I will do this through the means of my own personal experience being a construction coordinator for such a large company, as well as I have outreach to other people I know who work here and live here in Cedar Lake that are also qualified individuals that have engineering backgrounds, that know fluid dynamics, things of that nature, and find some kind of middle ground for a path forward for us.
I don't mean to cut you off, sir, but does anybody else want to have anything to say before we, or is he speaking for all you folks? That's all.
If you have something, you come forward, state your name and address.
He pretty much said everything I was going to say.
Oh, well, okay, so everybody else is okay.
And then we can, once
Come on up.
all the questions have been asked, we can go to the engineer for some, we have our engineer here with us today too, so.
Hi, my name is John Grelak. I live at 12829 Colfax. That is a house down from where you guys are proposing to build a water tower. I've been a resident there for 2 months. I was not informed at all about this. I found out about this over the weekend in utter shock.
We've been working on, real quick, we've been working on it for about 3 years.
And I understand that.
So you wouldn't have been notified if
And
you
you
moved in
wouldn't,
just
yeah, but
a
folks
month
were
or so ago.
notified. So go ahead.
People were notified back
Some of
then.
the main, they were notified?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've been there.
With a legal letter?
I just found out about it.
Yeah, people were notified, I can guarantee you that.
I never got a notification.
Okay.
They were all sent out to the whole neighborhood.
The reason why we bought here, though, is we have a 4-month-old son. The proximity to the school, the proximity to the park. The park was a huge reason. Not to mention, when we drove through, we saw, I don't know, probably about 45 kids out running in the street. Minimum. Having fun, having a ball. You know, there's major concerns there about the bacteria growth in a park. That is a water tower. There's a lot of bacteria growth. Who's going to maintain that? Not to mention, he mentioned flood insurance. I bought 2 months ago, I was told I didn't need flood insurance. Now, all of a sudden I might need flood insurance? Who's going to pay for that? I don't think that's necessarily fair. That's coming out of my own pocket because a water tower wants.
I don't know where you heard that a water tower being built creates flood insurance.
He just said if it bursts, we're in a flood zone.
Again, that is worst-case scenario stuff,
Okay.
but I don't even know if that's true.
It's some things that are concerning to me. Also, I haven't seen the formal plans for this, but where it's located, would I be in a fall zone? Because if I'm in a fall zone, then it also limits who I can resell to in 15, 20 years.
Well, I think our engineer can answer those questions.
Well, we want to get through everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, those are my major concerns.
Okay,
I just want to bring it up. I resonate everything he said.
Okay, understood.
And that's one of the major reasons why we bought there was because of the fact that it was an established community. It's been around for a decade.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have to deal with construction noise. We wouldn't have to deal with any construction because it's an established community.
Sure.
And we have a 4-month-old son who, bless his heart, doesn't stop crying. But with added construction, a house down from us, 50 feet down from us, that's not going to help anything.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was looking through some of my records here.
Was there somebody?
Would anybody else want to?
Right, I was just gonna answer some of the
Go ahead.
questions about no notification, and I've gotten an email from a resident of the neighborhood from February of 2019, and they knew about the project, so
How were people notified?
there were numerous venues. We used the newsletter that goes around with the utility bills. I believe there was I'm trying to go back through time in my head right now. I believe there was an insert in those newsletters when that project was first being proposed to try and gather some of that public input. We had numerous public hearings. The problem we have right now with trying to delay anything, we have financing through what's called the State Revolving Fund. The bond financing for that is dependent upon timelines, locations, design. Everything had to be submitted to the state, to IDEM, for this SRF bond approval to be able to finance it. That doesn't allow us to change it. If we changed it now, we throw out the entire financing, and you have to start over, and that would cost the ratepayers several $100,000, if not closer to $1 million to start over. So that's not necessarily an option, although we want to hear your comments, but the fact of the matter is, it was 3 years ago this all started. Over 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. So I feel bad when people feel like they haven't been notified, but how much stuff do we get in the mail? And I'm guilty of it too, where I just look at it and I'm like, it's out of sight, out of mind, because we all have a lot going on in life. It's not something you always think about until it's here. So this is one of these difficult situations that, while we don't want to ignore your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, they matter to us. We're at a stage of this now where there's no turning back.
And the original location has been moved.
Yeah, because
And
the residents,
that was due to somebody that
Somebody coming
contacted you,
here.
Randy.
yeah, some
And
residents,
they asked if it could be shifted.
yeah, some residents came to a couple meetings and, wanted to look at the possibility of it being slightly moved.
Uh-huh.
And Neil can talk about why it was located there to begin with, our engineer. It has to do with elevations. We looked at working with the county parks to allow us to put it on unused county park land, but they didn't want any part of that conversation.
They wanted us to purchase some other property
Right.
and give it to them.
So Neil, can you talk a little bit about why that was located there and what the significance of that particular location is?
Yeah, you're correct, Randy and Bob. It's specifically due to elevation. The hydraulics of the system, a area to the south, which is 50 feet lower in elevation, would require a tower 50 feet higher or taller to make that same static elevation. And we spent probably 3 months discussing with Lake County options to look at Lemon Lake further to the east of there. And yeah, they were fruitless, unfortunately, but we have looked at that specifically because of those elevations were exactly similar or within, feet that we could work with within the system pressure to maintain what currently exists within the system. But this discussion's gone back since 2015 of the location and recommendation to the town council at that time for the location.
Yeah, the actual connection though with the community started at about late 2018, early 2019.
Because wasn't it 2019 when we went out there, the three of us, Neil?
It was 2019, the actual design of that tower started in late 2017.
Sure.
But you're correct. And that site, while the park will be removed temporarily, my understanding is coordinating to be rebuilt, relocated to the north, so there will be no loss of amenities for the residents.
Correct.
So is that, I'm sorry, is that the new location that you were just talking about?
Um,
Location where it's actually supposed to be built,
Yeah.
or is that the one that was supposed to be like in the tree line? Because I know I had heard initially that they were trying to do in the tree, or maybe it was just on Lemon Lake,
Yeah, we can't go past the tree line because that's county park property.
where the tree line starts, so it's not something that we can like plop in the tree line?
Yeah, the tree line is slightly over the property line on the park property.
Okay.
So going any further east of there would be on county property.
Did you say you're moving the park north?
The location will be available to move the park to the north, correct?
So the water tower is getting moved, so those three lots. So I live across the street, so this is like actually gonna affect my everyday in terms of like what I gotta look at. So I am across the street from the southernmost lot.
Sir, can you come up and give us
Yeah,
your
yeah.
name and address, just so we can make the right record?
Hey, I'm Brett Zanstra. I live at 12826 Colfax,
Thanks.
which is right across the street from the park.
Thank you.
So, like I said, I am across the street of the southernmost lot there. So you're saying that the water tower is gonna be moving south in those available lots?
I'm not exactly sure what your location is.
Okay, so if you're looking at the park, is it moving right or left?
So if you're looking at the park from west to the east, so
Correct.
you live west
Yes.
of the park.
Yes, west of the park.
So if you're looking at the park, we had an original location, where was that, Neil?
That was further south from
It
where
was
we
further south, yes.
And now the location that we had settled on, which was about close to 2 years ago, I believe.
along generally
At least
the
2
property
years,
line
yeah.
directly west
Yeah.
of the park.
So it was within the park property, but just shifted a little bit. But we couldn't move it too far, partially because of the quality of soils. You can't stand an
I
elevated...
remember hearing that,
Yeah, you
that
can't
there-
stand an elevated tank on certain soils.
Yeah, and I know you guys had looked at over by MacArthur, and there was like mercury.
There was a lot of areas that were looked at.
I understand that, but
You're right.
another thought that I know that Kyle had said in terms of the park, one thing that we noticed is that our park's not really kept up that well. And since we don't have an HOA, like I guess it's not our responsibility to keep up. Like most years, it's like covered in weeds and.
Well, there
weed
again,
mulch.
somebody got a hold of me, and I got a hold of Tim Kubiak, our operational director, and he went over there and he got He got the stuff all mown, and the mulch inside was bad, and he went out of town and had mulch, because it's gotta be certified, and we had that put in. So I hadn't heard that it wasn't still being kept up. According to what Tim told me, it
I
has
think
been.
that was this year, right, where you had like a dump truck dumped in there?
Yeah, I think last year and this
Was it
year.
okay.
Again, now, I mean, they're establishing a parks department now.
Yeah, we started park
Okay,
department.
so that's what I was gonna ask, I know we had, and
We just
on Facebook or something, you just started it.
We did,
like a
we
small-
did, and there's gonna be a lot of improvements to all the parks.
Our parks department's gonna be substantial.
Yeah, it's not gonna be small.
We
It's not small.
submitted to the state for $1 million budget for that parks department,
Okay.
so.
So, yeah,
There's a
because
focus on
that
it.
was one of the things, like, we bought there 5.5 years ago, and one of the reasons why we bought in that neighborhood was because of the green space across the street from us. I actually think we paid extra for our lot because of the green space and because of the park. It was super, super important to my wife. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, we spend most of our summer there.
And I think one of the best things that, not that it's gonna change this project, because we're past that point, and I'm not saying we're ignoring what you're saying,
Mhm.
but one of the best things that you could do now is look forward, right? So if there's a impediment on your front park property, get engaged with this park board, they meet once a month. Send people some emails, all their emails are listed online. Let them know, hey, we've just experienced a bit of a hardship here
Yeah.
with this utility development.
I think actually the head of your department actually already,
Dale?
did
Dale,
he?
Dale
he Facebook
reached out
on-
to me, but he didn't.
He said it's very much a work in
Well,
progress. At least
and he's
one of
not wrong about that,
No,
because
yeah.
there's so many things still undone. We have to wait for this tower to get built, we gotta see where everything lands, see what the needs of the neighborhood are, and we go from there, because the process is like that. Dale can't commit to anything, or the park board at this point, because they're still in their infancy.
Yeah.
This year, they basically had no budget, because we just started it again this year.
Absolutely.
Next year, they should have a significant budget, and then they're gonna do a Parks Master Plan. I would suggest that when they're doing the master planning process, come into some meetings, offer your input of what your neighborhood, what you think the needs are, to help bring that enhancement back that was so attractive to you. One of the difficult things with any utility project is everybody needs the service, and nobody wants it next to them. It's one of those really hard things.
Oh, for sure. I'm with
And-
Kyle, like,
and-
we want it to happen.
Yeah, and I'm not unsympathetic to that. I mean, in my neighborhood, there's a big water main project going on right now, because we've got 50-year-old water mains,
Yeah.
and they break constantly. And everybody's upset when they break, because we have a boil advisory, and this is terrible, and the town's not taking care of its infrastructure. Now we're spending $2 million to replace it, and everybody's pissed off because they're replacing it.
So here would be my next
Double-edged
question.
sword.
So the water tower, because I know you guys might not remember it, I know we knew about it,
Mhm.
but I only say that, like, my wife is super, like, insistent on reading every piece of mail that comes through. I'm like,
And
I
here's
understand,
coming-
I understand she's an
Yeah.
outlier.
Yeah. That's why I say, I'm not accusing people of
no, I-
not paying attention, but we did send stuff out.
But if it's not like, and this may not speak necessarily for you guys, I know you don't remember getting anything, but I know, if it doesn't like super directly affect, like, you're not having a building
I
in
get it.
front of your
Right,
house,
I
like,
totally get it.
it's
Yeah.
easy to just be like, oh, that sucks.
Yep.
And onward and upward.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm right with
let's say
you, Matt.
it's gonna go, the water tower's gonna go up, I think Kyle asking for a month isn't crazy, I know you've got all the financing, but if it's taken this 3 years,
But it took us this long to get here. We
so
had,
what's another 2 weeks?
because
you
once
have
you
to
sign,
be more
once you sign the
informed.
contracts on things,
Yep.
you have to execute certain things by certain
Mhm.
timelines, and if you don't, you fall in
You
breach
lose
of
it.
contract, and you can lose your financing.
Okay.
It's gone.
Next thing would be, for the water tower itself, is it gonna be surrounded by privacy fence, chain link fence? Have we got, is that something that's even discussed like this
A
early?
lot of that is federal and state law of what type of fencing it has to be. What is that,
And
Neil?
it is security fencing. They are Homeland Security required fencing. They are not decorative, they are functional.
So
But the
So
site
it's
impact.
gonna be more of a chain link style fence,
Yes.
it may be,
barbed wire.
But-
With the extra foot of barbed
Neil?
wire on top would be the idea.
But can we landscape around it to make it more
Oh,
attractive?
absolutely.
Yeah, you can put arborvitae and things like that
So
around
we
it.
can have
But the
it
fencing-
landscaped around
Yeah.
it once it's completed?
Because we see the kids in the tree line, like they are constantly climbing trees and doing all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. Like, I'd hate for one of them to climb up a tree, or climb up a fence that's 8 foot, because it has
Right.
to be that
Yeah,
tall.
yeah, well-
And then we run into an issue there.
Yeah, the fencing, we're very limited of what we can do with it because of the law requirements.
Okay.
But we
It's all
can
about
definitely landscape around it.
DHS.
and
Yes.
So is that
It's
gonna
a
be,
deterrent from anybody being able to climb it.
is that gonna be a Parks Department to upkeep that as well? Because that does make me a little nervous because
The
of where
the
we...
water utility will upkeep anything that has to do with that water tower.
Okay, so they'll be out there like for landscaping or whatever, like getting the landscaping done, keeping it looking nice and all
If
that
that's a
stuff.
part of the project,
If that's
yeah,
the-
that'll be the
Yeah.
job of the water utility to maintain.
We can
the
approve
property.
that, right?
Yeah, any landscaping that goes with it, yeah, would have
Sure.
to be purchased outside of the project.
We could do that though.
Because I mean, I know they make
I think it's fair
8-foot
enough.
high bushes, I guess they're still
Yeah.
bushes at
Oh,
8
yeah.
foot?
Yeah.
I think
Like
that's-
stuff like that, I know it's extremely I know those are
They're
extremely
nice.
expensive, but something like that,
Well, these aren't unreasonable things
Yeah.
to talk about. I
Right.
mean,
that's what I'm asking, like, this is-
your entire approach is not unreasonable
No.
at all. I'm just being honest with you.
yeah,
One of the difficulties in these positions sometimes is we want to be able to satisfy everybody, but you can't always tell everybody what they want to hear. So I'm just giving you the truth of.
well, I don't want
this
you
is
to tell
where
me
it's
it's not gonna go up, and then I show up at my house and there's a...
Let's-
It- it's going.
It's gonna go up, sir.
Yeah,
It's gonna go up.
You never heard that out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It is
so.
going up. I wouldn't want it to cross street for me, but it is going up. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think we'll be happy to work with you to make it as
Painless.
As eye-friendly as
as
possible.
eye-friendly as possible.
If you
and
look at the west
definitely-
side tower, we just recently repainted that one. It was horrible for years.
The west side tower.
And it's
By
over,
school.
that's over by Hanover School
On Perry.
on Parish. We
It
just
was
put the
blue.
new town logo, it's white now. It looks absolutely beautiful. It looks like a showpiece for the town. It's an advertisement for Cedar Lake.
We've never had a flood over there, have we?
Never,
No.
never had an
No.
issue.
Well, I think I agree with you, that's worst case scenario, but like,
Yeah,
if it's gonna start costing us
No, I
$100 extra
agree.
bucks a month, that worst case scenario for the residents is super expensive. We understand that it's,
I don't
the
think-
chances of that happening is
It's
slim.
brand new, yeah.
It's part,
And I
it's
can tell
also
you
part of
this, I can tell you this, that the loss of property value is not true. I live 200 feet from a water tower double the size of the one we're putting up.
Mhm.
My property value has not gone down at all. As a matter of fact, it's gone up
Will it go
100,000.
up? Because that would be great.
It went up.
Also, keep in mind, as we increase the size of our system, your guys' insurance rates will go down for, fire protection. So
Yeah.
we will be going through an ISO rating reevaluation here once the system's done, and you should see some savings because, you know, the system is better.
Just better equipped.
Yeah.
Now, does
This will
the
take-
system have another, are they
This will take
digging
a few
another well?
years, but it will happen.
Are they digging another well? Is that where the
We are
problem-
digging several wells, like, right
We were
now,
wondering if there was a well on that property.
no.
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 The supply is gonna come from the Lighthouse well, which the town purchased right here, which is about, a 600 or 800 gallon a minute well.
It's 525
Okay.
max.
We've got the Robin's Nest well facility that's gonna be fed into that, and then there's an additional well that we're looking at right now that we've done some fracture tracing on, that is a very substantial supply. So the supply is being set up to be able to, like Chief Wilkening said, provide fire protection at peak use without anybody knowing that it's there. So that's the
We
goal.
always lose our water when you guys don't do
Yeah,
that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the goal is
You know, that's-
to not have that.
No, that's what we're trying to avoid, sir.
The water utility is not only about growth, but your neighborhood needed that water tower when it was first developed, but it's like, you can't build this stuff until you have the customers. So your neighborhood was running off of that, Robin's Nest facility, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And that was not substantial from the start, from a fire protection standpoint. So this was something that, when your neighborhood was first developed, and that was even before I was on the council when that first came through the plan commission, that water was needed then. And now we finally have the customers online that can support the building of that tower, so.
So will we still be pulling from the Robin Nest well?
That'll all be pooled together and run into the
So
town.
it'll be us, Robin's Nest, and Lakeside?
It comes
Is
from,
that the
it comes
core that
from,
we're trying to service here?
it comes from Robin's Nest and goes
More
into
than that.
Lemon Lake Park,
Yeah.
and then connects to Crystal Oaks.
That tower is contemplated to service over 2,500 customers.
Yeah.
It's part of a bigger plan, okay? So you have a west side tower, have an east side tower, and eventually we'll have a south tower. But will actually be a tank, about a 1-million-gallon tank. Because it's all based on elevation. They all have to be the same elevation in order for you to loop the system and all of it to flow on the same hydraulics. If you have one higher than the other, you're gonna have nothing but trouble with pressures on one side of the town or the other. So eventually, this is gonna be a fully looped water utility system that it's gonna take probably another 10 to 15 years at least to get there. But that's the overarching plan of where we're going with it. You had a question?
Yeah, will this water tower have lights on it?
Your name and address?
Oh,
He's-
God,
he's
you're-
done
Yeah, he already done it.
He's done, yeah.
Okay.
Will this water tower have lights on it?
There will be one light on the top due to FAA regulations, and there will be security, lights for the area that are required by DHS.
How bright will it be? 'Cause I
What
live
the
down.
what the lumens are right now, I can't say, but I think Colleen said it right. Screening, is absolutely something that can be done subsequent to the hard hydraulics that are the things engineers are concerned about, that are worked through with the council and the park board of the aesthetics that, need to be supplemented to the hydraulics of it.
Yeah, and I think if you folks see that there's a hindrance in usage of parkland in the neighborhood, that's where your input's gonna be really important with that park master planning that's gonna start next year. So I would encourage whoever's in touch with Dale, stay in touch with him, because he'll help to keep you informed on that process. We don't wanna see any communities, any neighborhoods lose parkland. We understand
No.
100%.
I'm also liaison to the park board. You
Well,
can contact
but that's
me.
where, in part of that park master planning process, you can gain back some aesthetics of park usability and things like that
Things that your
as part of
neighborhood
that
would benefit
communication,
from,
so.
put out there.
But you guys are planning on reusing the old equipment.
Yeah.
Well,
Right now,
the equipment,
Just for right now, I
It's in the
mean,
ground, it's gonna get destroyed.
the equipment
chances are we'll
replacement,
replace it.
Yeah.
But there again, the park board, you can work with them and try and get some, new
New equipment,
equipment
yeah.
established in there. It
Absolutely.
doesn't have to be exactly what it is right now.
No, not at all. I mean, if you guys,
everything else, I mean,
There's not room for.
there was a lot of stuff that they were talking about.
well, right now, this year, there's been, new equipment put in, what, 4 or 5 parks? 5? And that's at a price tag of, I believe, north of $600,000, so there's an aggressive investment going right now into park equipment. You can only do so much every year.
I mean, 'cause you should see how many kids are in the neighborhood. It's-
Oh,
No, we don't.
I've been around your neighborhood, it's a great neighborhood.
It's a great neighborhood.
Let's be realistic.
Listen, I'm happy that all of you are having all these kids, 'cause we all need replacements. But no, listen, it's a difficult situation, and we wanna make it as good as possible. This group up here, I know wants to, I know the park board wants to, so I'm gonna encourage you, continue dialogue with those people, because that's the only way to kind of solve some of the problems that can be solved. Unfortunately, the water tower location, construction schedule, financing, it is locked in.
Can we just do one more, because we've got another meeting after that?
Yeah, I apologize, I just have.
No, you're fine,
I
you're
just have
fine.
one kind of question, I know it might help soften the blow a little bit. Will we get any kind of like tax break on this, property taxes or anything for having to be right next to this thing?
Not that I'm aware of.
We don't have no control over taxes.
Okay.
Neil?
There was one thing that we had talked about discussing with Lake County Park Department, while they were, not receptive to putting the tower on their site, their parks director was very receptive to a connection between the site and Lemon Lake. And I would highly recommend, and we could work with Chris to provide all the data we have for our survey, to get that connection, because while you can get through there just by walking through the tree line, a formal connection would be beneficial.
And I'm gonna be on the county council next year, so I can probably answer that.
going
Oh.
from the neighborhood into the park or something like that.
And those are things that can be done at minimal cost, but, have a good return on your investment.
And we have one of them in Lemon Lake Estates, where you can go through And we had a big fight over a resident that didn't want that there.
I just got one more thing. So, in 2019, you said that there was a newsletter that had went out.
It was probably before that.
Before that.
Yeah,
It
well,
might have been 18, I can't remember exactly when that went out, I was trying to find it.
serving overseas, right? My wife was back home. My ask to you is maybe let's look at the process of notifying our neighbors and our community here at projects like this. I know that if I have to do a variance, I have to do certified letters to all my neighbors to ensure
Within
that
the
they got them.
vicinity.
Within the vicinity.
Yeah.
I would ask that maybe the city look at putting some type of, regulation so that the city is required to do the same for the affected people in the area.
And we actually did, though, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying, is that it did happen.
Yeah.
Was it a certified letter?
I don't think it was a
I don't think
certified
it's
letter.
See, and that's what I'm asking. That's my one request, so you know people got it. It's not that one thing that's from Cedar Lake,
Yes.
don't throw it
Well,
away.
it's a fair request.
You know, that's what I'm asking, that's
We'll
what
look
I'm
into it.
formal, you know?
Can't promise it'll happen, but we'll look into it.
I
Yeah, that's
think-
all I'm
I
asking.
think that's-
And there would have been a public notice in the newspaper.
Yeah, but nobody needs to.
Yeah, nobody, I mean.
Nobody gets that far.
Nobody gets a newspaper anymore.
Yeah.
But thank you, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I appreciate it.
Newspapers are only for recycling,
Lots of
around lighting
sites
dog
in there.
pens.
Cleaning windows, sites.
Yeah.
Cleaning windows, you're right. Windex and newspapers, great.
Thank you, everybody, thank you very much for showing up and expressing your opinion.
And again, Rick went to a public comment before this, although in our agenda, he didn't have to do that, he did it because wanted to make sure that before we voted on the expenditure of $100,000 for a pay request, that you folks had a chance to learn about this and
Yes,
voice
absolutely.
your,
So thank you,
Sure,
thank
so-
you for doing that.
thanks.
Now, if I could turn it over to Neil.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a pay request for Caldwell Tanks. The majority of this work is related to their bonds, insurance, and the engineering of their structural equipment for the tower and for the foundation design. And the amount is $100,602.00.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the payment to Caldwell Tanks?
So moved.
Motion by Randy,
I'll second.
second by Julie. Roll call, Jim?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Hey, is there any way for us to get that screen turned on so we can see John's face?
Thanks, Chief.
Really?
Well, it's not that I want to. It's that by statute, in order for his vote to count, we have to see him.
I know, I'm sorry.
Could be someone impersonating him.
Can only hope.
God, no, please, no.
That's what Indiana law is.
If we could move to the written report, Clerk Treasurer.
Council, cash and expenditure reports were sent out to you all. At this time, I have nothing to report because there's a lot of pay requests that
Okay.
I will have to be working on after tonight.
Thank you, Jen. Consultant report, engineer, Mr. Neal again.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. West Side Project 1, they're proceeding for start January 2023. Project 2, design's complete. We are working on some issues internally with locations of septics and wells with the county. We have no issues with those relative to our sewer. However, I've been speaking with a gentleman over at the county health department, and he's provided us all the data, and that'll be reviewed in the next week. As Randy mentioned earlier, Utopia subdivision is proceeding.
And I'm upset.
If that could be entered into the record, I would appreciate that.
War zone utopia?
No, I said I'm upset. Like I said earlier, every project we need to have done, it's never right when it's done, it's just hard. And Steve knows that from being a town manager for 20-some odd years. Doesn't matter.
I'd like to let the record show Mr. Kills here.
Yeah, I want to put him on the record.
We ever get,
Every chance I
why
get.
haven't you done this project yet? and why isn't this project done yet? So we appreciate your impatience. Thank you.
Well, again, one of the things that's come up with my own neighbors is trees, right? We've cut down some trees, some old trees, as part of that project, and I think whenever we do projects like this, we have to be mindful of neighborhood aesthetics.
No, I do too, absolutely.
I think it's just something that, an old neighborhood like Utopia has some 60, 70-year-old trees standing in it that are gone and probably need to be replaced.
And there are quite a few communities that have, what they call a 2-for-1 program, that they will provide you 2 trees to plant on your property outside of an easement and outside the right-of-way, and that could be, absolutely a good opportunity to use right here.
Yeah, I think doing something like that would be good, and I think looking forward, as we improve old infrastructure, we need to look at this as part of those improvements.
Absolutely.
Because people do move to neighborhoods and move to the community partly for aesthetics.
If there's a quota of trees you have to cut down and somebody doesn't let you, I've got plenty. You can come over and get your quota, okay? Thank you.
I'll need to consult legal on that, but I appreciate it.
I like waiting on Chris Day that we have there.
But will they get the leaves down?
Charlie Brown.
Can you get an answer? Will you be able to get an answer right away?
I can.
Thank you, Neil.
And then Eastside Transportation Main, as mentioned last month, that's on schedule, as well as Robin's Nest and Paradise Cove improvements there proceeding.
Okay, very good.
Questions?
West Side Interceptor.
As mentioned earlier, Project 1 construction will commence and complete, they'll get back on construction to commence that in January of 2023.
Okay.
Project 2, design's complete, and that's what we're working with the health department on.
And are you, and finishing some of the land acquisition on number 2?
Yeah, and I talked with Dave earlier about that. Once that final land acquisition is complete, we'll come back with you with a projected schedule on completion of the design document, specification manual, proceed to IDEM permitting, and then go forward on the bidding process, which I'll work through Chris's office on.
So we're down to one, just one now we need to acquire?
Yeah.
Okay.
In phase 2.
In phase 2.
Phase 2, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Director of Operations, Mr. Kubiak.
On the actual, they got the second test done on the water tower water after recoding and repainting and refinishing the inside, and they actually, it's back online as of about 5 o'clock this evening, so.
Super.
They just got the thing back at 4:45, the second test, and it's done, it's on. The first attempt, there was still a little place up top, there was a little leak or something, they had to come back out, weld and inflate it, but it's good and back running again, so that's
Did we have to replace the door on the water tower somewhere? I see in the claims, a door was replaced.
There was actually, there was a door removed out of the pump house building to mount electrical equipment. There was 2 doors and there was no wall space to mount the new transfer switch for the generator, so we had to take the door out and block in the wall so they could mount the equipment to the inside of the wall.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim. That almost qualifies as breaking news.
Almost breaking. And then also the lift station 8 over there by Corky's, the pumps are finally in. We've been waiting for 6 months, I believe, for the pumps. So
Okay.
pumps are in. The control panel's still another 3 months out, but the Xylem people brought us out a temporary drive and a control panel, so we at least have one actual pump in there functioning, and now our backup pump is actually just a backup to that pump, so we're making progress slowly but surely.
Thank you, sir.
Taking time to get stuff.
Yeah. Town attorney report?
No report.
Thank you. GMOB, there's nothing to report, is there?
We'll work to schedule a meeting sometime in the first quarter, and that'll be on both posts.
Okay, thank you. We've had our public comment. This meeting is now adjourned. The town council meeting will begin forthwith.
let's get this show on the road. The Town Council public meeting for November 15th, 2022. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice.
Thank you. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Here.
John Foreman?
Present.
Julia Rivera?
Here.
Ralph Miller?
Present.
Colleen Scheven? Here. Richard Sharp?
Here.
Randy Niemeyer?
Present.
I am present. Chris Gladys?
Present.
David Austin?
We have a quorum. We have two public hearings. Item one is ordinance number 1433, Public Way Vacation, Patriot Properties, Northwest Indiana LLC, continued from 11/1/22. Review of legals.
Legals were in order the last time, but for the certified mailings to the adjacent property owners for the subject parcel. That service has been made
Okay,
and effectuated.
thank you.
Matters before you for disposition.
Reading of ordinance 1433.
Ordinance number 1433, an ordinance vacating a public way in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Are there any remonstrators for or against? Second call for remonstrators. Third call for remonstrators. Anything online, Jen?
No.
No remonstrators. Town council discussion. Any discussion? Mr. Austin, any extra background to give?
No, I don't think so. It's a standard form public way vacation application and proceeding.
And we have vetted that there is no utility usage or conflicts within this vacation.
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay, thank you. Town council decision on ordinance 1433. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Scheven. Discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes, motion carries
Call
7-0.
John Foreman?
No.
We
Can't vote.
lost his, feed.
Oh.
No, I'm actually here, but I don't think I can vote since I was down at the Indiana Cities and Towns meeting for the last meeting, so I think legally I have to not vote. Is that correct?
Yeah, you have to be seen to vote, John.
Well, you can see me, I believe.
No,
No.
we can't.
No, you can vote only if you can be seen.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, and I thought you
Now
can see me
you
here.
pushed it.
I have my light out, so you can see my face.
Now I see it,
Now
yep. So yes, John, you can vote as long as you
To
can
see
be
the
seen.
computer, I got the light off.
Oh, geez, that's right at him.
So what's your vote on this?
Yes.
Thank you. 7-0, is there a motion to suspend the rules, allow for a second reading?
I'll make the motion.
So,
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Scheven, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
See, I lost him again.
Yeah.
We keep losing,
Hey,
Johnny.
yes.
We lost your face. Skip.
You should see me.
Now we see it.
Now we
Yep.
see
Yeah, see me?
There you go.
Yep, now we see
Yeah, I
it.
just, okay,
Julia Rivera?
yes.
Yes.
Ralph Miller? Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinance 1433 is adopted. Nick, are you sure you want to get into this?
Yeah. Who's on first?
Yeah. Next item is a public hearing, ordinance number 1434, Bay Bridge annexation. Introductory reading was on 11/1.
We did, I think that was just
You did the suspend the rules and not the second.
that was just suspending the rules, yeah.
Second reading, ordinance 1433. I'm way ahead of myself.
Yes, you are.
I'm trying to get this going,
You're trying to get the county.
because Julie's going to start drawing pictures.
Kohler?
Go ahead, second reading, Vice title.
Second reading, 1433, an ordinance vacating a public way in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
I swear this isn't my first meeting, I just act like it.
I'll see you last.
You've heard the second reading of ordinance 1433, is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan, second by Ms. Rivera, discussion, roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Okay, the nose is back up on the plane. Ordinance 1434 is Bay Bridge annexation, introductory reading 11/1/2022, review of legals.
The legals are in order.
Thank you, reading of ordinance 1434.
1434.
Title only, please.
Ordinance number 1434, an ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Any remonstrators? Second call, remonstrators. Third call, remonstrators. Jen, anything online?
Nothing online.
Thank you. Town council discussion. Mr. Austin, I'll give the floor to you.
Thank you. The matter before you requires a fiscal plan to be considered and approved with the resolution approving it. That's part of the standard process. And at this point in time this evening, that is not ready. The fiscal plan itself, it's in process, it's in form, it has to be brought up to full content. And in fact, Chris and I will be meeting with developer representatives tomorrow,
Okay.
working on that. We are on task and on time according to the schedule that was provided, and in the event these matters are all addressed, drafted, appended, and accepted in 3 weeks, you could probably consider this.
Thank you.
We're working towards that goal.
Mr. Kill, any comments from, since you're here as town council discussion, any comments from developer? Anything we should know?
No, just it's a small annexation, 100% voluntary, the 20 acres, Park
Okay.
Bay Bridge. I'll work with Chris and Dave, and
Okay,
whatever deficiencies there are, we'll certainly get on that.
sounds good. So with the comments of the attorney, I believe it'd be recommended that the council consider a deferral and to keep the public hearing open. So any motion needs to include those two things.
I'll make a motion to defer and keep the public hearing open.
Thank you. Is there a
I'll
second? Second by Mr. Sharp. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Mr. President, should the record reflect, December 6th is the next town council meeting, and this matter should be an item on that agenda.
Thank you. It will reflect that, and this will be an item on the agenda and continuance of a public hearing.
Thank you.
Any public comment on agenda items? Second call, third call. Jen?
Nothing online.
Thank you. Consent agenda, minutes, October 18, 2022, and 19, 2022. Claims, all town funds, $593,314.18. Wastewater operating, $128,711.02. Water utility, $36,669.56. Stormwater, $3,121.11. Payroll, November 10, 2022, $340,374.98. And October remittances, $183,577.40. Manual journal entries, October 1, 2022 through October 31, 2022. Donations, trunk or treat donations from Bugaboos, $100. Fraternal Order of Eagles, $100. And donations in kind by Bethel Church and K. Williams. Motion to accept and waive the reading of minutes and accept the consent agenda is listed.
I'll make the motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan, second by Mr. Miller. Discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
John, I lost you again.
No, I'm here.
Yep.
I just switched screens. Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinances and resolution, Resolution 1325, a transfer resolution, Ms. Sandberg. Its title, please, and explanation.
Resolution number 1325, a resolution authorizing appropriation transfers by the clerk treasurer for the following funds during budget year 2022. These are for a total of $38,000 within the general fund and $5,000 within motor vehicle highway. A majority of it is because we need more fuel. and then some miscellaneous supplies and vehicle repairs. But as I said, $38,000 to be transferred within town council's department, police department, fire department, and park maintenance, and then motor vehicle highway. Like 5,000, sorry.
Okay. You've heard Resolution 1325 and explanations. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnaz, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan, discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. BZA Plan Commission, item 1 is extension of performance letter of credit for Rose Garden Unit 2 from December 10, 2022 to December 8, 2023 in the amount of $1,685,193.13. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnaz, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, carries 7-0. New business, item 1, ratify agreement with Compass Minerals America for 800 tons of bulk de-icing salt at the price of $101.07 per ton. Minimum purchase commitment of 80%. Price includes delivery. Mr. Salatas.
So, Tim Kubiak worked and solicited quotes from Mineral Supply Company to secure a large order of road salt that will be broken into several orders, so that way we can properly house it into our salt barn, but this was the best price we found available.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion by the council?
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Carnaz, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan, discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, carries 7-0. Item 2 is change order number 3 from CBBEL for the Parish Avenue roadway project to Milestone for an increase amount of $222,839.46 for a new total amount of $1,564,223.63. Will these change orders ever stop coming?
This is the last, should be the last one.
Holy smokes.
But this is due to the fact that we had to do a lot more work on the road than what we anticipated.
I understand.
And I thought it might be higher than that.
Well, Bob, we will be relying on your checking account to help make up the difference. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, council salaries.
You could never make it up in council salaries.
Never.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 3 is pay request 3 from Christopher Burke Engineering for the Parish Avenue roadway project to Milestone in the amount of $381,336.56. Mr. Salatas.
These and the subsequent ones afterwards should be the closing out the 3 road projects we've had this year.
This was a planned pay request.
These are planned pay requests.
Yes. Very good. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnaz, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Miller, discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, carries 7-0. Item 4, pay request number, I don't know what, from Christopher Burke for the Vermillion roadway project to Milestone in the amount of $915,015.73.
This is the first.
First pay request.
Pay request number 1. Thank you. Same thing, is there a motion by the council to
So
approve?
moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnaz, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan, discussion. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, carries 7-0. Item 5, pay request 4 from Christopher Burke Engineering for the Highland Subdivision roadway project to Milestone in the amount of $62,978.73. There, motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan, is there a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, discussion. Roll call.
I would just say that it's a good year to be a paver because these prices are crazy.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Joe Rivera? Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Congratulations to this council and the staff and everybody that worked to get all this stuff coordinated this year and engineered and finished. We did a heck of a lot of paving this year. Tim?
And just for the record, the, both Vermillion and Highland came in under budget to help offset some of that cost of parish undercut, so it was a good effort by, I mean, we had that in mind when we made that decision to get it cut out.
But the sheer amount of road work done this year is, in one season, more than what I think I've ever seen.
We've
That's
also,
good to hear that it was under Vermillion, because we were anticipating it was gonna cost us more.
That'll be a little easier on your pension, Bob.
Yeah, it worked out good, I mean.
we also in the, during specifically Parish Avenue, found several unlocated, utilities, and so we learned a little more about the system we own.
And that saved us money too, right?
Yeah, a bit.
Some say some.
Yeah.
Backwards
There's a
sort of
mixed
way.
bag on that.
But at least we know where all the utilities are now.
Lot of
Everything mapped.
knowledge was gained there,
Yeah.
for sure, so. Between that and getting Utopia replaced, we're getting a lot of those skeletons out of the closet.
But the amount of infrastructure work, paving, water, the things going on here right now is like, it's 20 years of work to get here, right? It started before this group of people putting those foundational pieces in place, so whoever serves in these seats needs to continue to look out. What's the next step? Because this stuff was all a culmination of that, and we have enough customers, enough revenue to be able to pull this stuff off, and now there's gonna be next steps to take, so you're never ever done, but this year was a tremendous year for this community and infrastructure. Item 6 is reimbursement agreement with GM Development Companies LLC. Mr. Salatas.
This would be a reimbursement agreement which, Dave and myself and the developer, and David Rainey from, Meredith's group have been working on. And I'll let Dave go into it in a little more substance.
Mr. Austin, the floor is yours.
The committee that is assigned the project development cost schedule is inclusive of architects and construction manager. You agreed to do that by your resolution that set off the BOT funding mechanism for procurement of the improvements. Those folks are off working. You checked off on this in July, I think, end of July, last meeting in July, and they've been out working ever since then. We've learned about a number of things, some of which is good, some of which isn't so good, but that was the purpose for their taking the project or taking the concept and developing what the cost would be, the time it would take, and what just generally we could expect to receive if they began building our police and fire headquarters. So this agreement, it contemplates payment to the construction manager and the team of up to $1 million for the costs incurred in the development of the scope, detail, bidding, and preparation of the project for construction. When they come to us with that number and that information, they're going to be ready to go. This is covering the cost, the out-of-pocket.
And that's all part of what was contemplated when this started with developing project budgets as well.
It was, everything really but the $1 million. We never really talked about what that cost would be.
But we knew it would be in there.
Then, that number, got the attention of your town manager and myself, and that's what kind of drove this.
Anything with a lot of zeros in front of the
Yeah,
decimal.
there were too many zeros to just check off on a pro forma document.
Got it. Thank you.
Last thing is, I think we would request, correct me if I'm wrong, your consideration of checking off on this, subject to fine tuning the final fine tuning items, namely, invoices, claim processing, and the like. You'll note that in your copy.
Thank you.
That's an open item. Did I miss anything, Chris?
No, that was spot on.
A motion by the council to approve the reimbursement agreement with GM Development, noting the need for continued work on the claim processing part of the document.
And solicit signatures, Randy, set up for the town council president and the clerk treasurer.
Okay. And authorize the town council president's signature. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved. I want to give this one to John.
Give it to John.
Yeah, I feel bad, we need to get him on the record.
Sitting out there in Ohio, not a thing to
Motion
do.
by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
In the dark.
Don't have lights on. Second by Mr. Sharp, discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, carry 7-0. Town council reports, Bob?
The Gene Everly Parade of Lights will be, Saturday, starting at 6 o'clock, taking off from Hanover, coming down here to the town hall, and they've got 150 trees lined up, along town.
It's good to have you back, Bob.
Yep.
We've missed you.
Yep, we have.
Glad you're doing well.
Can I ask Mr. Carnahan something? If you get a new hat, are you gonna move up there? No?
I don't know.
I want to take a moment to thank the people out there who voted in this election and ask the ones who didn't vote why. We have a month of voting now. To have 36% turnout in Lake County is inexcusable, considering the monumental shifts in public policy we've seen in this country that have created some pretty tough circumstances.
Amen.
But thanks to the voters who did come out for giving their nod to the candidates that were elected. On the town council here, Julie was reelected for her third term. So congratulations to Julie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Great job. Bob was reelected to his
Which one, what are you gonna say?
his 30th term, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I put on Facebook that I serve the people that voted for me, I serve the people that didn't vote for me, and I serve the people that didn't vote. I'm a servant of the town of Cedar Lake.
You always have been, Bob, there's no doubt. But congratulations to Bob. What term was this?
10.
10th term.
Wow.
So Bob, so the town has been around since 1967, so to be pushing 60 years by the end of Bob's term here, so Bob will have served for about 2/3 of the time the town's been around, so quite an accomplishment. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to Nick Recupito. Did I say that right?
You got it, Randy.
Okay. I've been working on this. Nick did not have an opponent in the general election, but he will be serving in the seat that I currently occupy, and I know that the town will be well served by you, and you'll bring a new dynamic to the group, and very confident that we'll see the continued progress. I appreciate the nod that the public gave to me to serve you on the Lake County Council in the 7th District. I look forward to that challenge. It's exciting to have an opportunity to continue my public service on a local level. I think you still get a lot done locally as much as federal government is handcuffed. Local government is not. We are continuing no matter what to move the ball and do the things that the citizens hired us to do. So again, thank you for the opportunity, and congratulations to all of those people who ran and didn't win and those who did win. We don't have elections without competition, so we have to remember that. But again, voters, no excuse. Time to come out and vote.
Randy, I got a couple things.
Yep.
The first thing is, I went on a field trip with Chris out to the dewatering facility.
unreal. It is huge.
Did you have to get a permission slip for that?
I did.
Okay.
My wife said I could go.
Okay. Got it.
Unreal what's going on out there. It's,
Gotta get breakfast.
you know, and Bob Gross came with us, Dan Pager, Doug Spencer, and we had Mary from the Crown Point Community Foundation with us and that, and it was a very, very well spent afternoon. And on Sunday, I had the privilege of going to the Eagles. Todd, the fire department did fabulous. They put on a program for veterans in town, and the place was packed. The fire department bent over backwards for us, and that they had the Pipers there, they had the Patriot Riders there, they had Vicky Vicari and her group, and Adam Warnhoff and his group and that. It was a very nice afternoon, and that I really want to thank the fire department for going out of their way and doing that.
Yeah, it was our association, and Bill Missile leads that up.
Yeah.
And they do a great job every year.
Yeah, one other report from the county council meeting today, which I attended. A resolution was approved unanimously by the county council for the transfer of funds to the town of Cedar Lake from the ARPA funds for the Lake Ecosystem Restoration Project. So it's been approved in resolution. At this point, it's still yet to be transferred. That will take place sometime early next year. So
What amount?
I can't remember exactly. It was somewhere in the $600,000 range.
Okay, yep, that'll be well spent. Needed and well spent.
Very good.
Super.
You said it was going toward the fire station and police station? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that part.
Oh, you need yours clean. You
Okay.
can say that.
All right.
We would if we could, but there's restrictions.
There's static in the
500,000 for project, 100,000
Yeah,
for legal
don't
fees.
quote me exactly on the amount, I seem to remember that, maybe it's a little less, I'll have to get that amount, they've rattled through that so fast, and I had to try and back up, but it was approved, I'll be able to give you better information after January 1st, so the actual transfer of it, so. Any other council reports? Town attorney.
Just smacks of bringing home the bacon, Randy, bring home the bacon.
Well, when there's bacon to be brought home, that'll be part of my job, but most of the job has nothing to do with that.
Well, that 600,000 does. No reports.
Thank you. Clerk treasurer.
Council, I am finishing up work on the 2023 salary ordinance, and I will have it before you on your next agenda.
Thank you. Town manager.
So I'm gonna piggyback on Ralph and kind of wrap in Christopher Burke's report. The sediment dewatering facility was completed November 2nd officially. So I believe we still need to see a final pay request for that. And then we've got a staff level meeting set up with Dredge America for November 28th. Where we'll then go into the details of what that phase of that project looks like. And we do have a tentative start date, or the ability for them to start at April 15th. Under the building department, we had 11 new residential permits for October, which brings us to a year-round total for the end of October to 239, with 55 new other permits, bringing the total for the year to the end of October to 517 permits. And then for the Veritas report, the substantial projects that they're working on right now are in relation to the public safety building, so there's been a lot of work on that from the Veritas department. And we've had some small movements on the Bluffs project, and we are working to schedule for the town complex master planning. So there's a couple things in the works. Other than that, we got our first snow, and I think we handled it decently, and we are taking care of leaves right now.
Got mine. Thank you, Tammy.
Good job, Tom, snow.
We ordered it.
Let's do that for another month, we'll be happy.
Yeah, no.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Director of Operations.
As Chris said, our main thing has been leaves. We actually had 2 crews working election day, 2 crews working Friday, Saturday, and 1 crew working Sunday. Guys working overtime to keep them things going. Unfortunately, they all fell in 2 weeks this year, so it's been...
They did.
It's been painstaking. I mean, they're out there, but they only make it 2 blocks because the thing gets filled up every 30 feet with leaves. There's so many, so... people, I just have people be patient, it's just, I mean, the leaf pack gets filled up in literally 100 feet, 2 properties, it's full because there's so many leaves out there to pick up, so it really, really slows down the process. But they've been all through the whole town once, they've been on a couple of the big roads a couple times, and they're going every day until we get them done, so.
Where do you take the leaves to?
Some of them are to the Public Works and then some to the flume down below.
And then they take the rest to my yard.
That's the right corner of Randy's road there, Ivy and one.
Can we get permission from the fire chief to burn them where we're not endangering people's houses?
You'll have to ask the fire chief.
I didn't hear that.
Thank you, John. Can we have fireworks with the leaf burning?
Come on, chief. Come on, chief, John.
Blow off fireworks and burn the whole town down with leaves everywhere, so I mean, that's happening.
I need to correct the record real quick. The town requested $650,000, and it was actually for water utility development here on the east side. The council had corrected that expenditure due to the treasury rules on that of relating to underserved areas of infrastructure. So that should meet all the requirements of the treasuries to be able to transfer that money to an area that needs water utility development, which is the east side stuff that we're doing. So $650.
$650.
Yep.
Okay. Very good.
Anything else, Tim?
Okay, thank you.
Police Department.
Council, you got our monthly activity report. You can see that we had 1,013 calls for the month.
How many? 2013 for the month?
1,013 calls for the month. We're averaging about just under 35 calls a day right now. We issued 87 citations in a month, or 87 state citations in a month, at a total of 145 for October. We had 402 warnings issued for the month for a total of 421 for the month of October. We had 40 arrests, 65 charges, 50 misdemeanor, 14 felonies, and 1 warrant, for a total of 296 arrests for the year and 533 charges at the Lake County Prosecutor's Office. We also finally received all of our, which I sent an email to you guys, all of our equipment from WatchGuard. So we have our body cameras and our car cameras in-house now. We have scheduled the installation of the car camera system starting next Monday. Chief Okening has graciously opened up one of his bays for us so that they have plenty of room to do the installation. They're hoping to get 5 done per day. I don't think that's possible. They're going to start off with 3. So this might be a good week and a half project to get completed. We don't know for certain. But ultimately, no cameras will go online until at the earliest January 23rd, which is when Motorola can come in and upload the new server that has to be utilized. So that was the earliest date that Motorola could come in and do this server work with Clip to get it started. So we can't start anything earlier than that. So once the cameras go in the cars, we're going to pull the power supply because there's no way to upload any of the data if it's recorded. So, but they'll be installed, ready to go, and then the officers will start taking some training classes on the body cameras. They've already been informed of policy. That's been enacted with the Board of Safety, and the statutory requirements on body cameras and deactivation and knowledge that it's a felony offense.
Very good. This is a high level of accountability, and I hope everybody takes it serious.
I can tell you that there's not an officer in the department that's not excited to have them.
Good. Great. I like it. Listen, we don't like Big Brother watching everything we do, but unfortunately in today's society, you have to be able to tell your story.
Well, the unfortunate part is that because of the public perception of law enforcement in these communities that are, I'll be nice and just say different communities, the public perception is that they don't believe anything we say anymore, so now we have to have audio and video recording just to show that what we're saying is accurate, you know. And it's unfortunate, but it's going to be there, so. The new WatchGuard system's pretty fantastic. We'll be able to link 8 cameras at one time. So if 2 or 3 officers or 5 officers are on scene at the same time, we'll be able to link the majority of them so that, you know, if Randy's a police officer and his vision is this, Jennifer's a police officer and her vision is this, and then mine, you'll be able to see all of them at the same time. So whatever Randy sees, you'll see what Jennifer sees, or you'll see what I see at the same time. So it's a pretty elaborate system. It's got a wonderful redaction system, so we can buzz out juvenile pictures and things like that, so for public record. The biggest thing we'll have to push, which I sent to Dave several months ago, is the schedule fee for people that want to get video footage. It was during the time we were changing the $5 report thing. We sent a whole schedule fee. So we just gotta put that in effect. We got a couple more months until it really goes, it's gonna be there.
I'll connect with you on that.
Yeah, because we're gonna have people coming in wanting stuff through the Freedom of Information Act, so we just have to be able to have a scheduled fee. That's it. Any questions?
Any questions for Chief Fisher?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Wilkening.
A couple things, you have a report in front of you, I want you to take a look at a couple things on there for us. If you notice, we had 28 structure fires this year so far. That is actually up from last year. The one that's very interesting is 40 outside the community structure fire responses as well. So this year, so far, we've been on 68 structure fires within our region and our area.
And 40 of them were either in our call area or they were mutual aid?
Mutual aid, yes.
Or you say 20
No,
mutual aid?
40 were in mutual aid.
So
28 were our call area.
28 is our call area, which includes Hanover Township.
Yes.
I got it.
Another one to look at, which is kind of interesting, we're up to 100 accidents with injuries this year, which is also up, which obviously means the traffic is getting more significant in our community. And then there was one more I was trying to find here. I couldn't remember.
The traffic is more significant and people drive terribly.
Yep. Yes. And then water rescues, we're up to 11. That does include county response with our mutual aid group. And
okay. So
those are actually an increase. Our ladder truck just had some extensive motor work done to it. All the injectors were replaced. The truck runs like you would not believe now. So that's about the last. Hopefully, they actually did kind of go through the whole motor. The truck is in great shape. The engine's in great shape. So just.
Where'd you get it done at?
J&M.
How long did that take to get it done?
4 days.
Really?
Yeah.
God, every place is so backed up right now.
Well, we waited.
Injector kits.
We waited until they had the parts and grabbed it and take it and put it down and bring it back up.
I've been waiting on a rebuild kit for a Detroit diesel motor for 17 months.
Oh, geez.
I haven't got one yet. You do an overhaul on a motor and I can't do it. It's amazing.
I'll have a new job description for you guys to look at and hopefully approve here. I did it backwards. I was supposed to bring it to you first and not the Public Safety Commission for Division Chief of the Marine Unit. Like I said, I did it backwards. I was supposed to have it done with you guys but I thought I had to bring it to the commission first. I apologize. But you should see that here by the next meeting. Last but not least, we were just kind of wondering, Randy, if you'd like to join in the pool for how many years it's going to take before you become council president in Lake County.
Me?
Yeah, everybody's thinking that's going to be within probably 1 year.
I doubt that.
Listen,
Democratic controlled.
I think the aggressive nature of you, I think, we'll see new leadership there.
It's a different political atmosphere, okay? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the position I'm elected to. I told the folks today, all I'm interested in doing is doing the work. I want to succeed at what we're doing there, and there's areas of improvement that are obvious to me, at least, in looking at it, and I'm hoping that my colleagues there will give me the opportunity to take a scalpel to some things and help make things a little more efficient. So
you run in the footsteps of your family that, was in county government for a long time, and there was always massive leadership there, so we're.
Well, I don't think you have to have a gavel to exude leadership, so I'll do the best I can from my position. But I appreciate the pool. Let me know how that works out.
We just wanna know if you wanna be in it.
First round
I would take the odds that it won't happen.
Okay, all right.
Unless there was a shift in political dynamic.
Well, the county needs you, they do.
Well,
I used to work for the county, I can tell you, they need you.
I'm, like I say, I'm just excited for the opportunity and, working with some new folks and learning the ropes there. I'm not afraid of the information or the budget and the dynamic. It's actually kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Few more departments, a couple more zeros.
A lot more personalities.
Good luck.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts of government's easy.
Right.
The people part is always a challenge, so that'll be the interesting part, but, yeah, I appreciate it. I'll be around.
Just get a hat that says Niemeyer on it, make sure you have it on there when you're sitting.
We know we can talk to you about hats.
I gotta see where I can get one made. Bob, you know anybody?
They're expensive.
I probably won't get them made. Okay, thank you, Chief.
You're gonna give out milk on your first day on the job, Randy? I think you ought to.
I think that'll be a hard pass, John, but I appreciate the suggestion.
Always trying.
Okay, there you go. That's all I got.
Building Department report, you already did that one?
Yeah.
Clerk report, and Veritas report, all tied up in one public comment. Second call, third call online.
I would
No
like
hands are raised.
to give one more update, I forgot about this, I apologize. NERC, we are going to be submitting, I've been working with Christopher Burke, VS Engineering, and, one other on the NERC NOFA, that's gonna be coming on Friday. As the deadline, we are going to be submitting at minimum 5 grant, applications for that NOFA, predominantly sidewalk related.
Very good. It's in the Christopher Burke report, too.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay,